Yeah, man.
What it do, what it do, what it do, good people. Coming to you live from Taz TV. I told you we're going to have a special one this year, y'all. We bringing 2021 in right. You know what I'm saying? We're leaving it all to the... Matter of fact, we ain't talking about next year. King, speak
What's
your
happening?
name.
What's
Show
happening?
your
What's
shirt,
happening? What's
please. Show the
happening? What's
shirt. There we
happening?
go.
What's happening? This BC alumni. I got to say I graduated, right?
Yeah,
What's up? What's going
already.
on? This is class of '99 Dunbar's own Chris Bonds, man. What's happening? What's going on,
Man.
bro?
First of all, I like to say I like to thank you. I like to thank you for blessing the show, coming up here and blessing the platform. And I also like to say, do you have anything you like to promote? Let's get it out. Let's get it out early. Let's get it out so we won't forget anything at the end.
Yeah. No. I mean, nothing to really shout out, man. And like I was saying, man, props to you for already having this platform, and like I said, just having like a legends never die approach to this whole thing, man. So it's a lot of people out there, that kind of talk about this stuff on the phone, barbershops, whatever. But you bring it to your platform, man. I mean, like I said, and I mean, hopefully somebody can reverse and do an episode on you too, man, because you definitely put some numbers up back in the day. You feel me? You know what I mean? So yeah.
Man, that's
Definitely.
love, man. That's all love.
Absolutely.
Let's get to it, though. Let's start. We got to peel this onion back slow, Chris.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to start back from when you was smart. Matter of fact, to give a shout out, Coach Obi Barnes. You know what I'm saying? Let's go there first.
Obi.
Let's go there first. I mean, this is a legendary family right here. When we talking football, we talking greats, we talking giants. When we speak Coach Barnes' name.
Yeah. Certainly, man. Like I said, he's a. Heart of East Baltimore, Greenmount, Eagle Street. If anybody remembers, where the old penitentiary was, like I said, right down Greenmount, Eagle. It's a Chinese food spot right there to this day called Sun's. My grandparents used to own that. And then for the people who are a little older than you and I, Tez, right down on that same block on Greenmount where volcanoes used to be back in the day. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's why my family lived there. All right. So my grandparents had the cleaners. They had a soul food spot, and they had the cleaners right there in the same block, and they lived. So, when you talking about old East Baltimore, man, like the Matthews family, that's what I was talking about. Rest in peace of Gerald, man. You know what I'm saying, with Miss Julia Matthews and the Gaddy family, my family and stuff like that. It was one of those things where when you was on Greenmount, Eagle Street, Federal, all around there, you pretty much either went to St. Francis or you went to Dunbar. And my father back then, Emerson was a new school back then. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, he knew all them greats that put those numbers up, that put them banners up. You know what I'm saying, at Dunbar. But he wanted to go to a new school, so he went on up to Emerson and everything like that. But like I said, that's my father's side. That's the heart of East Baltimore. That's why Dunbar was actually my first choice. Oh boy.
Oh, hold on. We gonna get into that. We gonna get into that. We got a whole group of people that's waiting for this interview. Well, we got a lot of people waiting for this group. I mean, for the interview. However, those guys over there at Poly, you had some explaining to do. So but we gonna get to that later on. That's later on.
Yeah.
Let's what the first time you touched the ball, and what all sports did you play?
Yeah, so back in '87, father played his numbers every day. You know what I'm saying? So going to the liquor store, play his numbers, and as we coming back to the car, somebody said, "Coach Barnes." For people that know me and my family, we already know you can be in Florida, you can be anywhere. And somebody be like, Coach Barnes, like spot him anywhere. You know what I'm saying? 40-something years in the game, you know what I'm saying? You done taught kids, grandkids, all that stuff, right? So anyway, again, another late coach of mine that passed a few years ago, Coach Hall. He was like, good to see you and all that stuff. My father would turn around, he's like, oh man, Charlie, good to see you. I haven't seen you since the 70s. In the 70s, I'm gonna give you this mega coaching staff.
Go ahead.
So it was my father, Coach Pompey, rest in peace, and Bob Wade. They was all coaching at Emerson in the 70s. Teams was nasty. Them teams was nasty back in the day. And that was how you eventually got where, Coach Pompey was you started at Emerson, came to Dunbar, and then, went back to Emerson, when all the stuff happened.
Now that's big though, y'all. Did y'all hear what he's saying? This there was three giants on one team. They made it work. They both. I mean, hey, they all giants in their own right, and then they still went to other places and still make their own legendary. Man, I didn't know that. Yep. I didn't know that.
I never. That's why when you look at what Dante was doing and stuff like that, I mean, it was like the coaching gods kind of just like gave him that blessing, like, hey, it's your time now. You know what I'm saying? So when he got that state title with Edmonton and stuff like that, when I ran the D around the time when the peaceful protests and all that stuff was going on, and we was on North Avenue, and he was like, man, I call your father all the time. You know what I'm saying? And between like my pops, Coach Wade, and when Coach Pompey was here, he was like, them three, that's what keeps me doing it.
Yeah, shout out to Jay. Y'all, man, co-host on the football show, but that's in January. That's starting in January.
But that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, man. So so that's basically how that happened. So Coach Hall was like, I've been out here in Ricerstown coaching the football league, and I got 7'9". And my father was like, well, my son is 6. He was like, he'll be fine. Come on out there. So that's literally when I started playing. His son, my best friend in 30-something years now, was Brand Hall. He was also with Coach Hall in that same day. Brand Hall, who would end up being Gatorade Player of the Year in '98. Quarterback at Loyola and everything like that.
Yeah, so, man. Listen, you don't hear Brett name mentioned like that. Maybe because he went to Loyola. But if y'all play football in this area and y'all understand what he was doing, Cav Hall, I know y'all understood that Turkey Bowl. He put on a show. That last Turkey Bowl. But let's hear it, Brett. I know you're gonna say it. I want that interview too, but that's neither here because this is Chris Barnes' time. Let's go.
Hey, but here and I move as one. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, with the Hall family, and that's Tanya's cousin. So me and Tanya been knowing each other since we was 8, 9 years old too, man. So that's the family right there.
That's the
sir.
You know what I'm saying? Without giving the people too much, the people that know us know that they know what's going on. But like I said, you started at 6.
Yeah.
And what positions did you play?
My very first position was tight end. Played tight end because I was just learning the game. And then also because my brother, Obi Jr., who was, eventually played for, my father at Forest Park, his first position was tight end. And it was just your typical, you want to do everything just like your big brother. Everything. You know what I'm saying? So his number was 88. I think my first number may have been 33 or 88. Something with a double digit, same thing. You know what I'm saying? The same number. So tight end. Then I moved around to tailback when he moved to tailback. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then something kicked. I don't know what kicked, but that the whole receiver thing and just catching. I love the way that like that leather hit your hands and you could just shake, move with it, man. So once the receiver thing kicked in, I was like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna be.
It was like you always. Now, when I first met you, I didn't know you was that good in football. Because you don't talk about yourself like that. Even at a young age, you ain't boast on yourself like that, right? So the first time I came across you, it was a basketball situation. So did you play any we still in Pop Warner. Did you play basketball at that time too, or baseball?
I picked up football when I was 6. And actually, right around the same time, I would say around 9 to 10. So about 3-4 years later, then I picked up lacrosse and basketball simultaneously.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like lacrosse, and that's something I was supposed to pick up in high school too. I remember Coach Rob was pissed about that, but so basketball came kind of like third, but I always loved the finesse of it. Always loved the finesse of it. But you know, Pops had that chat with me, like, look, man, like you're gonna level out at about 6 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be where you are. So he's like, you would be like a average, maybe below average point guard, and you can still do it, or you can be, you know, a receiver that can just
go
jump.
get it.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, let's put these long arms of use and make this football thing happen. So I picked up basketball like around 10 or 11, seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Now I wouldn't be right if I didn't ask y'all, what was the battles of you and Brett as far as on a Pop Warner level? Who was y'all team? Who was the team that y'all was playing with? Did y'all win any championships out there? Did y'all run past I know that y'all wasn't in the same division as Northwood or
yeah, so we played in the Carroll County League, so our weight limit was heavy. You know what I'm saying? So 11-13, our weight limit was like 165.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So I mean, the thing is, you know, back then the teams we was playing against, you know, we playing against like Westminster, Sykesville. They was big, but they were slow.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of like the reverse of white flight as far as Baltimore, where a lot of kids from the city was moving out to the county.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That basically that's what you got. You know what I'm saying? So like the way Ricerstown and Owens Mills look now, imagine the beginning of that in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Late 80s, early 90s and stuff like that. So we was putting basketball numbers up on teams, and every now and again, if coaches wasn't too worried about it, we would play like a Hanlon Park. We were supposed to play Northwood, and the game got canceled. I'll never forget that. I was pissed, man, because I was like, mostly, you know what I'm saying? Because I still went to school in the city. Well, statute limitation over with now. Yeah. So, you know, we was living out in Ricerstown. I was still going to schools in my old neighborhood off Liberty Heights, you know what I'm saying? All Saints, Cal Rodwell, all that old stuff. So most of these guys, when we was going to play Northwood, I was like, yo, cool. You know, we going to play y'all one time. So, that was the league that we had played in, higher weight limit and stuff like that. But as far as me and Brent, it was always like you know, it was always like, and I don't want to say two Batmans. I would say like two Robins.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Two Batmans, you got too much to worry about.
Okay.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And you know that from an NBA kind of thing.
Yeah, I know
exactly. Like, how many balls? Two Robins will fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? So
I was about to go there. I was about to ask you, as far as high school, did I know y'all had to have a conversation about playing together in high school.
So that's 100% my fault. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, if I was tight end, he was quarterback. If I was tailback, he was quarterback. You know, he was quarterback his whole career, which made sense because I was like, I don't want to play quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And so with the high school, when I was at All Saints, and I took a visit, and you shadow somebody, I took a visit to Loyola. So I went, and I was like, yo, this seemed like this area right here. You know what I'm saying? Cool. But I'm like, where the girls at? I was starting to use my baby fat a little bit, you know what I mean? So I'm like, where the girls at? And we got wear uniforms. And I pulled out last minute.
Okay.
Brant had already took a visit because Brant's a year older than me. So Brant already took a visit, already committed. And as you know, he went. Okay. So once he had like signed and got everything done, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to a public school where there's girls at. So we were supposed to play together for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, he's still, yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, Polly, how you what made you to choose Polly?
So yeah, Dunbar was my first choice. And I mean, just going back to the, you know, Pops taking me down to the dome back in the 80s, you know, watching them legendary games out there. Like I said, if you ever, you know, run into him and talk to him, he'll tell you East Baltimore is God's country. That's what he calls it. He's like, East Baltimore is God's country, man. So just live, breathe, and die East Baltimore. And so growing up, they used to have the jamborees over at Lake, you know what I'm saying? And I would be like, yo, every time Dunbar pulled up, I'm like, the dudes with the gold helmets. So, like, maroon and gold looks so good to me. You know what I mean? I've been wearing it my whole life. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, yo, I got to be a part of that one day. Not to mention, also growing up in St. Francis Xavier Church. So my father went to St. Francis. I mean, he went to St. Francis, the school up until high school, and then went to the church. So everybody in St. Francis.
That's all that you seen, even St. Francis, Dunbar,
and right there.
That's so, crazy.
So I didn't have you got to take a test and stuff like that. And basically, he knew Miss Muhammad, assistant principal at that time over at Powell, and she was like, "Nah, we got him." So she's like, "We'll take him in," because actually my zone school was going to be Carver. I was going to go to Carver because of the grades I had out of middle school.
Oh, that'd have sucked. That would have been good. Yeah, that'd have been real bad. Yeah,
it'd have been hard times.
Yeah, it'd have been hard times. Y'all have been real sorry over there. I don't even remember Carver winning. But then now listen, let's talk about Pilot. Freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, freshman year. Mm-hmm. Now, did you go to summer practice?
Went to summer practice, and believe it or not, because most of my homeboys, like I said, was all a year older than me. When they left, so I was in the 8th grade, and I'm up here like, yo, all my homeboys gone. And I was right there at the weight limit too. So I was just like, nah. I was like, I ain't playing. So I didn't play football for a whole year.
What?
I'm gonna give you another connection. I get a phone call because I was playing basketball in middle school. We played in the CYO League and at All Saints. And we went 35-1. So I was like, yo, basketball might take over. You know what I'm saying? It's like that sport. I don't give a fuck if I'm 6 feet or 5'11", 5'10". I like, whatever I end up being, I like this. I can jump.
Yeah.
I got long arms. Wasn't the best shooter, but I was just like, I'm athletic enough. I can make up on my defense. You know what I'm saying?
I use quick out your toes, out your feet.
Yep. And I was dunking volleyballs starting off. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So what happened was I get a phone call after middle school basketball over with. And my father was like, listen, frat brother of mine from college want to talk to you right quick. Coach Dotson, Calvin Dotson. So that's another connection, right?
Yeah.
They go back to the 60s and all. So he called me and was like, listen, you want to ride this train? I'm over at this place, Cecil Kirk. Come over and check us out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I met you. You know what I'm saying? That's when I met you and all them guys down there. You, Donald, Tion,
the crazy thing, we come down there. That was my first year down there too. That was our first year. That was our first year down there at Cecil. That was our first time.
Some of the best times ever. Those trips going up to Vermont and KB and all that. But anyway. So what happened was, so I hadn't played basketball. I hadn't played football for like a year, and ended up going, straight up to Poly and just working out with them, and just had a killer summer camp. And unbeknownst to me, you and I came up in that age where we didn't really stay behind a year or whatever. Like, we always want to play against the big boys and just prove that we was, thorough like that. So end up having a hell of a camp. And I think a few weeks before the first game, at Poly, they I don't know if they still do it, but they used to call freshmen weenies. Like, you're just a weenie, you know what I'm saying? So right before the first game, Coach Rob was like, listen, moving forward, we had a good summer camp. Starting positions are going to be posted and everything like that. But as far as our split in position, he was like, Barnes, the weenie, he earned it. He's going to start for this team.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old. So
that's crazy.
Some of my 14 years old, because I'm a May baby. You know what I'm saying? So just like we graduated, I think I was like probably 17 when we graduated high school or whatever. Yeah. And then like 18 a week later, you know what I mean? So, but my legendary memories come from, the picture behind, I was already Dunbar for that, but freshman year, we played Dunbar.
I remember that. I was there. Yeah. Go ahead, talk to him.
And I'm looking, Coach Stan did this on purpose. He would let the dude Dion get off the bus first. Dion was how big he was. So he coming off the bus, and I'm just up there like, all right. And it's real. I couldn't sleep the night before because like I said, my thing was like, we playing against this creme de la creme right here. You know what I'm saying? They come down. I'm amped. I can't focus on nothing else but this game. You know what I'm saying?
Who was your quarterback at the time?
Freshman year is a dude named Dennis. I think it's Dennis Scott. Dennis Scott, I think his name was.
Okay.
I look up in the stands, and this is 95, so this is like the color leather jacket era.
Mm-hmm.
I look up, Keith Booth, Sam Cassell, and Antonio Freeman.
Yeah.
I think Noodles was there too. I look up and saw them, and shit, it's showtime, baby. It's showtime, goddamn. Yeah. Augie ain't wasting no time, man. I think my first pass.
It wasn't a slant? I thought it was a slant.
Yeah, it was a slant. It was a slant. My first pass, I took that for about 30, 35 yards. And I just remember looking at number 11, Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, I could probably show you a picture of it downstairs, the jersey number. Because I wore 29 in college. It's all about relationships and influences, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I caught that pass, and Ali walked me down from the other side of the goddamn field, man. I said, shit. I mean, but it's stuff like that.
But you was there. You was a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You caught that pass. You ain't free. You could have dropped it.
Yep. And I went for like 3 passes, about 75 yards, and that was in like the first half, and nothing for the rest of the game.
I think it was Antonio. I want to say I remember because I remember 2 of your passes. I remember a slant, and I remember like a hook, like you went to go
right after that.
Yep. Yeah, right after that.
Because he threw the ball to me back to back, and I was like, boy, I mean, I wouldn't, you know, I was in the girls, but wasn't, you know, fully, you know, like into the whole deal. But I was like, shit, something gonna happen this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Because this game was crazy, and Antonio Freeman came down the locker room. No.
Oh, what? Hold on, he came. Hold on, my fault. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he came down in the locker room halftime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You remember what he said?
So he was talking to the team. He was like, "Yo, keep doing y'all thing because y'all in this game." Mm-hmm. But he was like, "Let 81 do his thing." He just signed the biggest contract. I'm like, dude, you catching passes from Brett Favre right now. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I never forget that, man.
And then his own shout out to Freeman because he killed the city too. Football and basketball. He averaged 29 points basketball. People don't understand that.
Hey, Bucky Kemet showed me his stats. He a Federal Street guy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He East Baltimore guy too.
Played for
same thing. Yep.
I did my research on.
Oh, I know you did. Yo, when they showed me his numbers, yo, I was like, it wasn't nothing. I guess like he was just these neighborhood motherfuckers. Like I know y'all. You know what I'm saying? And when y'all come on Cold Spring Lane, or if I come down the way, I'm gonna put numbers up, and he did.
Now that year, you gotta talk about the city game. Before we leave Pilot, we gotta talk about the city game.
Oh wow, yeah. So 2 things there. Something was happening. Who do we have that time? The Stallions. We had the Stallions at the time, or the CFL team.
Right.
They had a home game. I don't know why they couldn't work it out with Morgan. Maybe they had a home game, Towson. Every place was booked.
Mm-hmm.
And City wasn't big enough. So they ended up having the Poly City game. And I'm still saying that with respect, because if you go to one school, you say your school first, City, Poly City, whatever. So the Poly City game was at Poly that year, and we mollywopped them motherfuckers. That was 34-0. That was my first touchdown my freshman year.
Yep. Against y'all, right? That was big. How that felt, that game?
Augie gave me a big ass hug, and I'm, you know, because the stands going crazy. He came over. You did it, Weenie. You did it. I was like, yo, this sorry, man. And you know, shout out to you know, people I still keep in touch with too, man. Like Lim Satterfield, Keith Mills. I still keep in touch with them. Text them, call, whatever. And they will always do a story every year, you know what I'm saying? You know, just about how Bucky and Coach Rival, damn, rest in peace of both of them, how both of them coached my father at Emerson back in the 60s and then coached me in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, they always, you know, show love in the sun to that. And then the sophomore year, that was the last game played at Memorial Stadium. And I, you know, sophomore year, I was getting busy on everybody by then. And you know, I had a pretty nice catch against the homie Warren Smith. Shout out to him too, because you know what I mean, because he was, like I said, he was one of them guys that me and Brian Johnson was trying to, you know, do it like, you know what I mean. Warren was putting it in early.
Warren was tough. He was tough.
Yeah.
However, you and Brian was some different type of dogs though. And I ain't taking nothing from him. I ain't beneath his because Warren had a crazy career. But
BJ
man. Now let me ask you something before we, because I see how you did your homework, your history buff us, even with the receivers, with the receiving core. All right, that sophomore year, at this time you hear Brian name about Pittsburgh, you hear Singfield about at this time Michigan. It was another guy. I want to say Overlay Clifton. I forget his name. Well, anyway, we had some receivers in it. We had some receivers in the area at the time, but y'all was the top receivers. Like people talked about y'all. Now making that, I know why you want to go Dunbar, because you always looked up to Dunbar. That was your first choice. I'm not asking you that question. However, coming to that understanding that, you know what, it's time to get up out of Poly. Did you that conversation? How that conversation go, and who did you have that conversation with?
Yeah, so that was a tough summer. That was a tough summer because you know, for one, you know, it's you know, my father was pretty much at everything, you know, up until high school, because when I'm playing on a Friday, he's, you know, coaching on a Friday, you know what I'm saying? And so when we would get home and stuff like that, he was like, you know, so, you know, he had already know if we had won or lost or whatever, but his thing was like, you know, how'd you make out? And freshman year, it was like, I'm happy to be starting. I'm getting at least a catch or two a game, you know what I'm saying? And then finally got the touchdown. So that was like a true buildup. Sophomore year, it was already like, well, I can't necessarily be captain because I'm a sophomore. You know, they did things in a traditional sense. I was already like the first freshman ever to start and all that other stuff. So I'm still just playing my role as far as being a younger guy. But the numbers was like, they were good, but it was like, I was still, you know, Easter tournament was down late. I would see Stan. Stan would just be like, look, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. And I was meeting guys like Denell Hale and all that. The guy who threw that pass, that's right behind you. You know what I'm saying? And Stan thing is like, you know, like pretty much like this is where you're supposed to have been anyway. So it's kind of like, what more we gotta really do? You know what I'm saying? And so I already knew, you know, certain guys was leaving from down Dunbar, and it was like I could either stay here and play split end, which Buttons and I both did, where you just a flexed out tight end.
Okay.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, because you're still getting a 3-point stance. You know what I'm saying? Or you can come down Dunbar where, you know, where we getting it down here and stuff like that. So talked to my pops about it, and we had discussion after discussion after discussion about it. And he was like, man, you know, you have been making a lot of your own decisions since you was about 13. He's like, unbeknownst to you. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I've been letting you kind of, you know, feel your way through life because this is what it's going to be like. So he's like, if you feel absolutely strong about this, you know what I'm saying? I make the call. So he talked to Stan. I never forget. It was one of the toughest conversations ever. Augie had called me and was like, hey, we got this guy coming with these brand new shoulder pads. He said, I want you to be the first to try them on. I was like, Coach, I was just about to call you because I just transferred to Dunbar. Within seconds, it was almost like he had it right here next to him. When I said that to him, honest to God, he looked and was like, I see October 8th. Bop. That's how that conversation went. He already knew when the Dunbar game was.
Wow.
And, and then it ended up being their homecoming that year. So in hindsight, had I stayed there, he's like, look, I know what you did freshman year. I know what you did sophomore year, because now Dunbar, they was number 1, we was number 4. We were in the double overtime. I had the game winning touchdown, but a guy jumped off sides and we lost. And that's when Ali had the slick Rick patch on his eye because somebody scratched his eye and he came
back. That was legendary. That was legendary. The man played with one eye. That was legendary.
That's some of my only like high school regrets is like, you know, I wish I would have played with him, you know, him and Tommy for like a year. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted 1 year, but the fact that I got to bang against them and put those numbers up, I was like, that's probably better than me. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I take that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, CB. Mm-hmm. When you made this move, you ain't have no. I asked Silk the same thing about when you transferred in. How did he feel? Knowing that another high power wide receiver is coming into the program, and we know how wide receivers is. Y'all divas. Y'all territory with y'all quarterbacks and with catches y'all gonna get. So he said to me, he said, you know what? It worked out because we went to camp that y'all went to Michigan camp that summer. Talk to the people a little bit about
Damn, yeah. I think that's another reason why Stan is who he is, you know, like I'm just, you know, when I see him, man, and you know, whether it's family or, you know, other people, whenever I introduce them, I'm like, yo, this is the dude that literally put me in college, right? And the reason why I say that is because after that tough conversation and all that good stuff, 9 months later, I'm offered a full ride from Boston College, right?
Right.
Just to give a very quick background on that, because I don't think I touched on the championship thing. So when I played out Ricestown for, you know, the rec team, we won 3 championships collectively, 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. The very last one, me and Brent won together. We was only 11-13 playing Sykesville. And the commentators, you know, saying this, you know, thing, you know, 1st and 10, blah, blah, blah. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, we have an announcement to make. Number 1, Notre Dame just went down. So the whole crowd was looking like, what? Notre Dame lost? This is 93. So we looking at them like, Notre Dame lost. He was like, Notre Dame just lost to Boston College. Swear to God. Me and Brant looked at each other and was like, who the fuck is Boston College? Mm-hmm. We end up signing 6 years later. So anyway, after that sophomore year, I hadn't made moves to transfer yet, right? So it was me, homie Lonnie, Chonin, you know what I'm saying, the Poly guys, and we got with like Danelle, Mathino, and maybe one other person. And Coach Stan drove us from Baltimore to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to that camp. And I really think
how was that camp to you?
I think that's when things started. Because, you know, just like whether you go to 5-star or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you're basically just a number, you know what I'm saying, or a city. So, you know, we all wore our helmets, and you had to put a sticker with your number on the top of it, or whatever, you know, serial number they gave you and stuff like that. And I think the numbers I put up there, I think that's when the magazines have started kind of being like, all right, you know, ranking people and that whole thing. And when I got back from that camp, that's when I was like, yo, dude's that serious, because he's investing that time in potential players. So that's how that whole thing worked out. You know what I mean? So it was love when I came down there, because, you know, I mean, some other guys that probably thought it was going to be them and Silk, you know what I'm saying? So when I came down, you know, his whole thing was like, yeah, cool. You know what I mean? Somebody to take the double teams off of me, that's going to work out. And I was like, damn, like, that's, like, you can't ask for nothing better than that. You know what I'm saying?
And y'all styles was different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that was cool too. Either you catch your hands, Skip catch with his body. Sometimes he may catch with his hand. But this what I honestly think this. I think it was a lot of talent on that team, right? It's just my opinion. There's a lot of talent on that team. And I felt like y'all kind of underachieved, because it really wasn't no the leadership was kind of shaky, and then no, I'm just gonna leave that there. You go ahead and talk.
Yeah. I mean, we had things that the talent was certainly there. I mean, clearly, you know, us going to I'm about to say Coalfield House to Maryland Stadium and losing against Fort Hill. The talent was there. I think some of the camaraderie, because I think that was a lot of the meshing together, people coming from, different schools and that whole thing. It worked, but at the same time, some of the older traditions, so like, Donnell was big time as far as staying in my ear about like how things were when he first got to Dunbar and everything like that, right? Mm-hmm. So some of those traditions kind of like dumbed down a little bit as far as people just totally selling out and being like, all right, cool. Like it's cool to go hard against Lake, but it should be Lake every Friday.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it should be preparation for Lake every day in practice, right? So some of those things was kind of like, and I mean, to this day, I still think that we had enough talent to win that state championship. But like I said, because we were stacked as far as like line, defense. I mean, yeah, we definitely, had some leadership stuff that could have made that, that transition to us holding that trophy up.
Look, and I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about that season, because we gotta go. Mm-hmm. We gotta go. I wonder what you was thinking when it was time to play Poly. When it was time.
So it was their homecoming. I didn't know that it was their homecoming, but like I said, I think the way Coach Wild was setting it up was like, look, we had already, freshman year we took an L, sophomore year double overtime, just junior year we got to take them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of one of those things where I guess I was realizing at the end of my high school career, I was actually kind of like the difference in all of those games. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And but my thing was like, as long as we win, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? So they scheduled us for their homecoming and beat us. And I mean, people was like in my face, like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, all right, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, it was nothing I could say. I know people that ain't shake my hand after the game. I was like, that's a bit much. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I made this move for me. It wasn't nothing against them. Right. I'm not getting enough touches out here. You know what I'm saying? I need more passes. So, in a few months, that's when you got that picture behind you right there.
It was like a wake up call. This was the year you made All Metro 2 this year.
Now, yeah, I think I made honorable mention freshman year, sophomore year may have been second team, but from
your junior.
No, sophomore year, I made first because I'm in a picture with Ali and all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about a career, folks. This man had a career. All right, but come on, we'll keep on going. We'll keep on going. The late game. You coming from a city and Poly, even though you know about the Dunbar, but you coming from that city and Poly rivalry, right? You played in that, but you also got to play in the Lake Clifton Dunbar rivalry. Yeah. Some people say, all right, the city Poly or Poly City, that's a cool rivalry. You know what I'm saying? But the streets say the Lake Clifton Dunbar rivalry is for the streets. That's for East Baltimore. That's an East Baltimore rival right there.
Yeah.
Can you talk to the people and tell the people that the atmosphere and how you felt and some of the stuff that y'all might be saying to each other in the game?
So when I heard how serious it was and stuff like that, I think the week before, you hearing about it, and I'm like, oh, all right, I didn't know it was that deep, you know what I'm saying? So Coach Stan brought us together and was like, listen, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need a wild, crazy going on. We just need like intelligent thugs on that field come Friday. All right, cool. So the game getting down to the wire, and I'm waiting for Stan to call that 53. You know what I mean? When I do like the post corner joint or the slant go, I'm waiting for him to call something. And sure enough, he called that joint like last minute, and Donnell threw a bomb. I mean, he launched that joint. I just remember watching that thing on the news and the way he cocked back and he let that thing fly, man. So that was my first game winner against Lake. Yeah, because I think I just started because I came down, but I had to go to driving school, so I missed a lot of summer practice. And then, I had a pretty good catch against Linganore when I did some crazy shit on the thing.
I got me bad.
That was a crazy one. So, my time licked.
They don't know. They don't know. What you do against Lick on? Can you explain it?
Yeah, so we was playing out there, and the game was, I guess, looking like we was about to lose that one. So I'm in. Sam puts me in, and he calls it down and out. I dropped the first one. Leonard put that